Thank you. It's called preening, Communication 101 right there. I've been instructed not to leave this area, which is going to be very tough for an individual like me. I like to spread my wings a little bit and talk really loud. Well, first of all, thanks for having me here today. I appreciate the cheers and the welcome. A fact is that in about 20 minutes when I'm done speaking here, I'm going to my wedding rehearsal because I get married Saturday. And so I hope everybody at the church is as friendly as you guys are when I enter. Let's hope so, at least the pastor at least. Well, again, thanks for having me. But you see up on the board there, if I get there, TIAIIT. And so I know I'm a product of the New York school system, and so it's not a misspelling. It's kind of a passion of mine, and I'll get into that here in a little bit. But it's really evolved over many years of my experiences working with high-tech growth companies. And as I've started to do more and more of this, I started to realize, this applies much larger than just our companies and the people that we work on a day-to-day basis. And so I've been giving this conversation to a lot of places all over the United States, and I'm excited about today. So TIAIIT, in real simple terms, there is an I in team, right? And so, in classic marketing 101, how do you get on TV? How do you differentiate yourself as you buck the system, right? And so that's the classic. Everybody says there is no I in team. I go with the low-hanging fruit. There is an I in team. And I'm going to kind of talk to you the methodical approach that I've seen with TIAIIT and the educational system, and more importantly, for where we're focused is the business sector and where I see a lot of companies going, innovation and talent, leadership and entrepreneurship, all coming together, and the paradigm shift that is going on now in our space. And it's extremely exciting. It's a little bit more in the future. It's happening now a lot, but buckle up. It's going to be happening a whole lot more in the future. And so what I'm going to try to do today is just lay a little bit of a framework, a groundwork for you to understand kind of the philosophy, the concepts. But at the end of the day, I don't really care about you. You have to do your work in order to be successful. All I can do is outline it. There are 8,000 books published each year on weight loss. I clearly am still struggling on some of those elements. But all you can do is give the tools to you today. And a lot of these things you're going to have to take home and apply to yourself and apply to your business. And that's where it's exciting. I've been to a lot of conferences and a lot of conversations related to leadership and entrepreneurship. And they always want to talk about the cool tech startups. And that's the space I'm in, and I love that. But it's much bigger than that, and we're going to discuss that a little bit here today. My background, again, is in more process engineering, so my graphics are not going to be as elite as some of the other individuals who are here today, but I hope the substance matches. All right, so it's real simple to me. TIAIIT, there is an I in team. And so what it really fundamentally comes down to is we've all seen real crappy teams. So everybody remembers when they were in college. Once you get into college, typically, you get onto all of these team-based projects. And the reality is it sucks. Most of your teammates suck, and you're the one up late at night doing all the work. You quickly find out you would never hire those people, right? So you just carry that forward a little bit. So the educational system has a little bit focused around the team element a little too early. We like to compile in our companies teams of brilliant, excellent, innovative people, which starts with a quality individual first. Then you're bringing those individuals together into teams. So if you extrapolate this concept, you can kind of see it's on an individual level, then a group level, and then your community. And so these innovative ideas, this impact that you can have, can transpire across all levels within your environment. So I go ingrained into school. There is no I in team. Okay, great. All right, we're going to get in these groups. This kid sucks. Can I have somebody else help me? What's going to happen here? So you get through your project, then you get into the real world, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, you can't pick your teammates again, right? And you're like, wow, I'm thrown into this department, and I got a guy who can really make some wicked coffee, and I got a person who can really talk a lot on the phone. The other guy knows how to text real well, but nobody seems to really know how to work here. And that's really where you're starting to see a big shift in innovation, and I'll get to kind of how this all ties together. In the educational system, too, a lot of students are educated into silos. So you come out with, what's your degree? My degree is in marketing. Well, that's great. My degree is in management. Awesome. What are you going to do for our company? How are you going to create value to our organization? And so a lot of students are very siloed into their approach. Here comes the problem. The actual need in the marketplace is vastly different. So you go to a job interview. Great. I interview kids all the time. I actually love it. We have a team of people. I love the interviewing process. Son, sit down. Let's talk. Talk to me a little bit about yourself. How do you see your impact with our organization? Well, Mr. Knecht, I work very good in teams. Well, that's great, Sam. We don't have teams here. Well, what do you mean? I expect you to do a lot of things in our business. And then when it's needed, work with other team members to make that happen. But I'm hiring you as an individual. I'm not hiring you as a team. And so this concept, I know, kind of ruffles feathers a little bit. And I know later on there's a gentleman speaking from the Army, and I was joking with him earlier that the Army's #1 marketing campaign ever was an army of one, right? And so you say to yourself, well, how the hell is that possible, an army of one, right? Well, it's real simple. Our brilliant military is made up of great individuals. When put together, makes us the strongest army in the world. And so you need to kind of apply that a little bit to business. And I'm going to kind of cycle this through to really the core piece. We get to the market demands now. Here's really where the rubber hits the road. Here's where a very large percentage of every kid I interview will never be hired by our organizations. It's because they're all theory-based. These kids have no real-world experience. They have no drive. They don't want to work real hard. And a lot of that is they've been kind of morphed into this philosophy that others are going to pick up their slack. And in our organizations and in the organizations that are successful moving forward, that is not going to be the case. You need a lot of individual leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs at all levels of your organization. And when I say all, I mean all. Literally, all. You need kick-butt customer service. You need great developers. You need great coders. You need whatever you have within your organization. You need the cream of the crop, and that starts with every individual, and you have to create a great culture. I know there's some conversations later today about cultures and environment around these kids and people within your organization. So you need to start with that. So the question becomes, okay, a lot of the talent coming out of the university, and if you're changing careers, how do I really get to where I need to be? So here's where the market need is right now. You can see on the slide I have the business environment, how it is changing. I look at our companies. I'm 34 years old. A lot of my peers are in the age range that I am. We were never given opportunities that we're given in our age range now. Right now, I'd be like a tier 3 employee, just moving up from PowerPoint and coffee to, some next level within, some organization. I was from New York. I wanted to work for Goldman Sachs in their M&A division and worked mergers and acquisition, kind of worked for a few firms, and then boom, the 5th firm, you kind of jump out and you get your own career opportunity, right? So that's the trajectory that most kids are thinking about in school. When in reality is the real growth in America over the next 15 years is going to be in small businesses, high innovation, and growth companies with an entrepreneurial spirit, and a lot of the students aren't equipped for that. And the most employees right now are not equipped for that. So that's a real challenge that isn't being addressed today. There's a lot of details within that, don't get me wrong, but at the core, that is a gap in our country that we need to fill in order to stay competitive in the space. And what this kind of comes back to is access to information. We truly are competing at a global level and rapid innovation. And I'm going to kind of tie how all this comes together, but this is where you as an individual can start to begin to separate yourself in the space and really become a leader within your organization. And I'm going to talk about this on all levels, not just high-tech growth companies. This can be applied to every single business, job, friend, cousin, fourth cousin, everybody who's coming to my wedding. Anybody there can take these principles and apply that to it. And that's what's awesome about simplicity is king, right? Don't overwork the system. So let's look at it. So the who, the question mark came down, I don't know, but the who. So this is really where the shift happens. We right now have access, everybody in this room, and I think I'm probably preaching to the choir only because you're here, so you already have a flair for learning, growing, and continuing your education and building your business. But I look at how with the access of information now, the opportunities that you have within an organization, you can do brilliant things right now as an individual, and you can apply that to all different segments of the community. So where in the past, you wouldn't have that ability to do that. A 19-year-old, there's going to be a 17-year-old today who's already got his own TV show and doing great things because of technology, because the access of information and people willing to support him, and he has drive and passion. And so by combining those elements, he's able to be successful. So you look at this, the line between leader, entrepreneur, and innovator is collapsing. Collapsing big time. Basically, anybody at any age now can be entrepreneurial, a leader, and an innovator, where that's never been the case before in history. In history. You look at Ritz-Carlton right now, A very large percentage of their rooms are now rented out to 25 and 34-year-olds. Why is that? There's a wealth transformation to younger people because of innovation, right? And the keys are there for you. The keys are there. If you're sitting there and acting like a victim right now, that's your fault. You can do whatever you want to do. Really, you can do whatever you want to do. You just have to work to get there. It's real simple. Nobody's going to give you anything. And so by combining those concepts, you can get to where you want to go. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not MTV. It's not, Blingville or anything like that. It's really about a systematic approach to becoming successful. So I tie this to really 4 types of individuals. And you can map yourself to whichever one you are here. Social, maybe you work for a nonprofit and you want to have a big impact there. Maybe you work for a small business, Main Street America, a bakery. Maybe you're in a high-growth business, technology-based. And maybe you're an employee. At all of those tiers, you can be an innovator, an entrepreneur, and an innovator to have massive impact to your organization overall. You just have to believe that you can and have the confidence to do it. Jay-Z would call it swagger, and business would call it confidence, right? I mean, that's just what it comes down to. I've probably messed up 3 times already in this conversation, but you're like, he looks like he's doing a right job, right? I've messed up 3 times already, 2, 3 times at least, right? Doesn't matter. Carry forward. So let's bring this forward. How do you find your eye? Because at the end of the day, I found mine, and my employees have found theirs. And we have great people in our organization, literally world-class individuals based here in Lincoln, and clients and friends all over the country. And this is what it's all about. So how do you pull that back? How do you find your eye? Probably some of you in this room now don't want to go back to work. You absolutely hate your job. You're here because you didn't want to be at work. I won't say anything. I won't point anybody out. One of our employees is in here. Ethan, where you at? But basically, you look at this approach and finding your eye, and it really comes down to these simple little things here that I like to say all the time. As you can probably see, I'm pretty passionate. So passion is a belief and a goal and a vision. At the end of the day, if you have a belief and a goal in what you're doing, you're not going to work. You're not going to work. We did a dry run of our presentations here earlier today, and everybody could just see and tell that they believed in what they were talking about. The passion, fire in your belly. You're not going anywhere. You believe in this. I'll do this till I die. And so you have to find that passion. If you don't know what that is, get on and try to find it. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be disappointed. So find your passion. And then most importantly, begin that journey. It's a hard thing to do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm telling you to find what your passion is and then find systematic ways to get on that journey. The path. It's not going to be a straight line. It's going to take a long time. Our businesses have been operating for more than 10 years, 15 years, 5 years before I even got into them. So it takes time. But systematically at our firms, we always say, if you do good things and you do them the right way, good things happen. So just consistently do that and apply that to your business and your idea. The results, don't be blind. Here's kind of where a lot of people fail. They get real geeked up, passionate about doing something. They get on the journey, get on the bus, like good to great, get on the bus, but then realize there's no bus driver. And that's not good. Not good at all. And so you need to also be able to cut your losses and get out of a situation. So have metrics and understand where you want to be and have milestones of where you want to go. And then I mentioned that this works in all levels of your life. So I use it obviously for our businesses and our associates. And then we also involve in our community, church, and other places. And so it's very, very important that it's simple as this. And so literally I made a handout. I didn't, but people helped me make a handout because I can't be even that creative. But of course it says passion, results, and the journey. And this is on it. You can download it there from that site. But take this and really take it to heart. I'm telling you, a simple exercise like this, what happens is people make it overly complex. And it's not like you have to quit. You can find a project in your organization. You can find an idea with your company. Take it and apply this process to it. And do it as a pet project. Don't tell anybody you're doing it. And you'll feel gratified by that. And then you're going to want to expand it. Have a short-term success, compound that, and continue to grow. I'm telling you, the net result in 10 years will be magical for you, whether that's financially, emotionally, or impact that you've had on the people you wanted to help or yourself. And that's a real key message here, is to continue to drive forward and never settle on where you're at today, because the amount of information, the amount of resources, and the amount of opportunities we have here are endless. And if you don't capitalize on that, that's your fault. And I have 5 seconds. Not bad. Right on target. So I will say thank you. And I'm going to get married. Thank you.